Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well today. We have the 2025 LDV Terron 9, which is LDV's latest ute. It sits above the T60 Max in terms of positioning and pricing. It's 5.5 meters long with a 3.3 meter wheelbase, so it's quite a large ute. It's actually getting up there towards F-150 and Silverado in terms of size. One thing you will notice is that it's got an integrated tray at the back, so those looking to swap it out for a aluminium tray might be better served with a traditional pickup ute. So this car was previewed by the 2023 GST concept, which back then LDV was saying they're going to initially develop electric vehicles and spawn a diesel or petrol version from there. So like we saw with the MIFA, they've reverse engineered the Terron 9 into a diesel ute, which is why it's got a lot of these futuristic styling elements and the interior, which I will show you soon. We have today the Origin model, which is $49,990 as introductory pricing. That's for ABN holders though, so it will go up. It'll be joined later in the year by the $55,990 Evolve model. Now that's going to have 20-inch wheels, a couple of extra interior accoutrements such as heated seats, heated steering wheel, and different styling as well. You'll also get front diff locks with that car. This car does have rear differential locks and off-road mode, something that LDV calls off-road expert. Now you'll notice the front styling's quite brutal and confronting. Obviously they're going for that tough look that a lot of ute owners like. One strange element is this shut line here seems to sort of be at odds with it, but other than that it's quite cohesive and tough looking car in my opinion. You can see here the way that the window's shaped, it does mirror the GST concept. Looking inside, very futuristic. So you've got this two-spoke steering wheel, two 12.3-inch displays, and a floating console, which is actually positioned perfectly as an armrest. So it's a very comfy ute. The back seat as well benefits from that 3.3 meter wheelbase. Accommodation is very generous indeed. Fit and finish is outstanding. So just the feel of these materials is a step up above from the T60. I'm 178 centimeters tall and I've got no issue whatsoever sitting in the back. The only thing I take issue with is these solenoid activated door pulls. I kind of feel like they're unnecessary when mechanical items sort of do the same job just fine. All right, let's take it for a drive. One thing that's immediately noticeable is the lift in materials quality. Like this kind of elephant hide material on top of the dash and the doors is very high end and premium. Panel gaps, outstanding, and just the sort of mechanical look, technical look to the finishes on the screen, for example, and these vents. Everything feels very high quality indeed. The only issue I have as well here is there are no charging mats here. Perhaps the Evolve will rectify that. But there's even a sort of compressed carbon look on the door. It all feels very good and premium. Right away as we're setting off, the engine's very refined, and being a new 2.5 litre design with 163 kilowatts and 520 Newton meters between 1500 and 2,500 RPM, it's a lot more responsive than the 2 litre unit that's in the T60, and there's no lag either. There are physical controls here, but I've got the heat on now and there's no sort of one touch way to defeat that. I have to go into the screen here, which is a little bit distracting there. I've turned it off. Now there are some electronic nannies. There's a driver distraction monitor here. There's adaptive cruise control, and there's also a speed warning which comes back on every time you turn the car on. It's pretty easy to defeat that stuff, and to LDV's credit, it does seem a lot less intrusive than it used to be on some of their other vehicles. Now, like I said, like the MIFA 9 to the MIFA, this is started out as an EV, which is the Terron 9, and you can feel that sort of EV style design and ergonomics as well. So for example, this is all very EV like, and it just feels like a very futuristic ute compared with some of the other offerings on the market. Steering wheel controls are reasonably well laid out. That you do need to get a bit of familiarity while you're sort of idle though. Figuring out this stuff on the run can be a bit distracting. But we can see the off-road expert here. It's got the approach and departure angles, crawl control, weight sensing. So if I click that, it will show me what the weighting depth is, which is 550 millimeters. That's pretty cool. Alright, now in the center console there is a low range locker and a diff lock as well, and as well as driving mode. So one thing I've noticed is there is a big discernible difference between Eco and Sport, but the good news is Eco does not seem to sacrifice much in the way, if anything, of responsiveness. This car still feels great. One thing I did notice is when you're in sport mode, it will hold a lower gear. So it was in 5th when I was cruising along at 70. I switched to Eco and then it grabs 7th. So it's an 8-speed gearbox, very smooth as you would expect from a ZF. Excellent gearbox. And while it's not a sporty car, the fact that it's got a single body pressing rather than a separate tray, it feels very rigid. It feels like it's got a lot of torsional rigidity. It feels well insulated. It feels quiet, and there's just the right amount of gears, it seems. So first impressions are really good with this car. I'm barely touching the throttle and it's getting up the hill with no fuss whatsoever. I'm in 5th gear. There goes the lane departure warning. There are paddle shifters too. There's also paddle shifters, so you can take control of that lovely gearbox. Now, this is quite a tight corner. It's reasonably well balanced. It's not overly eager with turn in, but it feels cohesive. So one thing with a lot of utes is they feel like they've got one car at one end and another car at the back end, so they don't feel like one unit. They feel like they're at odds with each other. This feels a lot more harmonious in terms of the way the suspension's calibrated. I should have spent more time defeating those electric nannies, but not to worry, we will persevere anyway. I was expecting this car to come out with IRS because the Terron 9 has it. Perhaps we'll see that on the MG U9, but I doubt it. We'll have to wait and see for that one.